morning, everybody. I am doing another Get Ready With Me, but this one is a little different. This is a project I've been working on for a couple months now. So, welcome to my podcast, Unsent Letters. Alright, so we're going to cover a lot of topics on this podcast. I'm never going to talk about one specific thing or like one topic for multiple episodes because I feel like that gets pretty boring. So, if you've ever seen Pretty Lonesome, that's the kind of thing I want to do. Not like copy, but like that's like the general idea of what I want this podcast to be like. Just like so. Here's a little history. I've always wanted to make a podcast. I've always wanted to do YouTube ever since I was a little kid. I know that's like a childish dream of like a lot of people in this generation, but I feel like I took mine very serious. When I was a kid, I would post so many YouTube videos. I would post like a new YouTube video every single day when I was a kid. Unfortunately, my account got deleted, but I would post a new YouTube video every single day as a kid. I tried so hard to get subscribers and likes and all that stuff, but this time that I'm starting over and starting this podcast, I don't want it to be about the subscribers and likes. I want it to be about the community that we can build with each other and the relationship that we can build with each other. So if we're small, we're small. I have currently 3 subscribers and like 3 likes on my last videos. So, like, it's really just a small community so far, and I would love it to grow this community, don't get me wrong, but I'm also perfectly fine where we are. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about today was, since it's January, I know I haven't put out an episode closer to New Year's. This is my first January episode. This is my first episode ever. So cut me a little slack. But I would like to talk about the absolute bullshit of the quote, "New Year, new me." Babes, you're still the same person. I hate that quote so much because you are still the same person. You should never be trying to like change yourself as a person. If there's character traits or characteristics that you would like to work on and fix and tweak, that's completely fine. But new year, new me, babes, you're still the same person. You'll always be the same person unless you're just like fake and stuff and like you try and be someone who you're not, which you should never try and be someone who you're not. You should always be yourself, and that sounds so old and like a broken record, but yeah. Just you are trying to change your habits. You're not trying to change yourself as a person. So, with the new year and New Year's resolutions that are happening, I hope that everybody just focuses on changing their habits, their bad habits, and changing whatever it is they want to change about themselves, whether that's getting in the gym more or studying harder, or it could be anything. But don't try and change yourself. You want to just change your habits, fix the characteristics that you don't like about yourself. Whatever it is that you want to change, but you're not changing yourself. Be yourself. Okay, so another thing I wanted to talk about with this podcast is grieving, which sounds so like boring, but I'm not just talking about grieving the loss of someone who has died. I am talking about grieving the loss of like a job, grieving the loss of a sorry about that. I'm talking about grieving the loss of a job, grieving the loss of a friendship, grieving. It could be grieving someone who's not around anymore, and it could 100% be someone who's still around that you're grieving for whatever reason, if it's friendship breakup, relationship breakup, either of those. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. So, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, the definition of grieving is a feeling causing deep sorrow or distress, especially following a significant loss such as death. When we think of grieving, we typically think of people, like when someone dies, like what your loved ones feel, and I know there's a lot of speculation about a certain someone's wife who's grieving right now, and people don't say she's doing it correctly, whatever. I'm not here to comment on that. But I want to emphasize the part where you can 100% still grieve someone who is alive. There is nothing wrong with grieving someone who is still alive. What I mean by that is, if you stop being friends with someone, if you got in a fight with someone and you no longer talk, if you've drifted away from someone, if you're going through a breakup, all those things, you can 100% still grieve the loss of someone who is still around. I think that grieving people who are still alive is the hardest, personally, because you still have to, whether you go to school with them, they're in your family, you're going to see them or see someone they're connected to out and about, and it stirs those feelings up again. So I find it really difficult, personally, grieving the loss of someone who is still alive, which they say the grieving process is all about, like, you can take however long you want to grieve, as long as it's like a dead loved one. Anyways, you can take as long as you want to grieve, and they always say that for dead people. But what about relationships? What about friendships? How long do we get to grieve those? Personally, I've met people who are still in love with their first love, and they are now 70, 80 years old. I've met many people who are not old, but elderly. I've met people who are elderly and still are grieving the loss of their first love. It happens to all of us, and I think it needs to be talked about more and normalized more. So along with grieving, I want to talk about grieving the end of a relationship. And grieving the end of a relationship it's always hard. It's never easy on anybody. I mean, unless you're like done, like completely just tired of the relationship, you're just done. And there's situations where that has been the case for me. I have been in relationships where I am just done. I have to be done for my mental sanity, for my sanity, and I'm just at my breaking point, and I don't grieve. I don't need to grieve because I feel like I've already processed that loss in my mind, which that is totally okay. If you're going through a breakup and you don't feel anything about it, that is totally okay. If you're grieving someone and you just physically cannot get over this person, like you have been grieving for so long, you just can't get over it, you can't get over what you guys had, that's totally okay, and that is totally 100% understandable. It takes a lot of time. And if you tell yourself that you should be over this person, and why are you still thinking about him, and why this, why that, all it's gonna do is make the grieving process that much harder for you, because you need to feel, you have to feel, and sometimes I've heard this saying, sometimes you have to go back until you hate that person, which for me is not the case. For me, I've gone back many times. I still cannot hate the person that I've been grieving for 3 years. I've been grieving this person for 3 years. And I've gone back many times in those 3 years. And I still cannot bring myself to hate this person. No matter what I do or what they do that's messed up and wrong and doesn't align with my beliefs, I cannot hate this person. So I would not go with that personally. I think going back until you hate him, while it can be beneficial in some cases, in other cases, it's just so much harder on yourself. It's putting so much stress and so much pressure on yourself. And when grieving, I think we need to focus on ourselves more than other people, which sounds selfish, but it's really not. So when we're grieving the loss of a relationship, my best advice is to go no contact. I know it's hard. I know it sucks. I know all you want to do is text this person because something happened in your day that reminded you of them, and all you want to do is just send them one last text. I can tell you right now, you're never going to break that cycle. You are never going to be able to break the one last text cycle because I've tried so hard. My New Year's resolution this year was to go completely no contact with the person that I am grieving. Mind you, I've been in relationships since I've been grieving this man, this person. I've been in relationships since I've been grieving this person, and I always told myself, oh, well, if I can get over him, then that'll be the end. I won't miss him, and it'll be fine. It's not the end. I could be in a happy, loving relationship and still miss him. Grieving sucks, and it's hard, and it's gonna hurt like hell. But you have to get through it. You have to continue to move forward with your life. Another thing that I've been doing to get over this person is you can reflect and journal, and what I have done is reflect on the relationship. And you can do this by journaling, you can do this by just talking to friends, anything that you need to do to reflect. And what I mean by reflect is you need to think about, was I happier in the relationship? Do I miss the relationship? Do I miss the way I felt the entire time I was in that relationship? Or do I just miss the good memories? Because I can guarantee you, if you're just sitting here missing the good memories, they're gonna come back and treat you like shit. And you don't want to keep going back, because you keep going back and they're like, oh, they said they're really gonna change this time. I've been there, I've done that. They're not gonna change. What this is showing that person is that no matter how much they keep lying about changing, no matter how much they tell you they are going to change, and they don't, you are still going to come back, even if they don't change. When you're grieving the loss of a relationship or friendship, this goes for friendships too, guys, you need to focus on yourself. If you are in a relationship, if you try and automatically get in a relationship and get over this person, I can tell you, you're still gonna miss them. And I mean, it's not 100%, but it's pretty 99%. And you just need to focus on yourself, guys, because if you're getting in a different relationship and you're still in love with this person, you're just gonna end up hurting the other person, and I'm sure that's not your intention. But when I say be yourself. Don't get in a relationship if you still have feelings for someone else. Once you have moved on and you feel like you have, sorry, I haven't even brushed my hair yet. Once you've moved on and you feel like you are, hold on. Once you've moved on and you feel like you're strong enough now, you're in a good enough place where you're able to, not that you don't still miss them, of course, you're still gonna miss them probably, but if you feel like you are in a place where you can be good enough for a relationship, then try. I don't want you to sit here and never be in a relationship your entire life because it hurts, because you miss the other person. You should be in other relationships, but you shouldn't be in other relationships immediately. You should never use someone as a rebound, because I've done it and it doesn't work, and it just, personally, everybody has their personal experiences, but it just made me miserable being in a relationship with a rebound. Mind you, I dated this guy for like 6 months. It's miserable being in a relationship with a rebound because even if they treat you good and they do all the things and they are just perfect to you, it's not like, it just sucks because this other person is never going to satisfy that need, that feeling that you need, that you crave. This person's never going to satisfy that crave because this person is not them. And it hurts and it sucks because you want it to be them and you just want to move on and you're tired, and that sucks. It really, really sucks. But it's just the truth. You gotta let yourself heal. Okay. I want to talk about growing now. We've moved on. We've talked about all this sad, savvy, all that stuff. So now I want to talk about growing. How can we grow from this relationship? How can we better ourselves from this relationship? Well, we can set standards. This goes back to the reflecting that I was talking about. You can realize what that person was doing that wasn't okay. Maybe they were treating you amazing and it just, your personalities clashed. Maybe that's the case. But a lot of times that person wasn't treating you exactly how you need to be treated. And you can set standards. It is okay to have high standards. Men in this generation are going to get mad at you for having high standards, but that's just because they can't meet your standards. So it is okay. It is 100% okay. It is 100% normal to have high standards. You should have high standards. If you don't have high standards, you should. Because the higher your standards, the more likely, or the less likely you are to get treated like shit, to get stomped on. And with these standards, I don't mean, oh, he's tall, he's handsome. I mean, he doesn't treat me like a piece of shit. Maybe he buys me flowers. And I'm not saying someone needs to buy you flowers once a week. Once a week is a little crazy, especially, not crazy, I think if you're married or in a very serious relationship, yeah, once a week, that's great. If he does that, amazing, perfect. But I feel like when you are in your teenage years, when you are in high school, correct me if I'm wrong, but a man who's trying to live his life, a man who has possibly, he might have a job, he might not, a man who might have financial responsibilities, might not. It just depends what his parents have for him, like expectation-wise, what he needs to pay for. They should not be having to buy flowers once a week. Yes, getting flowers is nice, and I'm not saying they should never buy you flowers, but you should never expect someone to do something that is going to hurt them in the long run. Like, I feel like this sounds so anti-feminist and stuff, but I swear, I don't mean it in that way at all. Okay. Set standards. I'm not gonna let someone walk all over me. I'm not gonna let someone treat me like shit. I'm not gonna let someone talk to me this way. That type of stuff. So, that's what I mean when I say standards. You're not gonna let someone do this. You're not gonna let someone do that. You're gonna have standards for yourself on what you will and you won't allow. You need to allow yourself time to heal. That is really my big key point here. You need to allow yourself time to heal. I think everybody needs time to heal, no matter what they're grieving or who they're grieving. Everybody needs time to heal. When I say time to heal, I don't mean sitting around wallowing in your bed all day, woe is me. I mean, yeah, being in your bed, being upset about it, that's a part of grieving. Did anybody else just realize how bad I just fucked that up? Anyways, that is a part of grieving. I 100% understand. When I say don't be in your bed, be doing stuff productive, I mean, yeah, it's gonna take days. It might take a week for you to be able to do that. That is okay. But you need to eventually build yourself back up. You can't lay in bed forever. They're not gonna come back to you if you're sitting there laying in bed forever. No, that sounds harsh, but it's the truth. You need to change your mindset. When I mean change your mindset, I mean, I saw this post from Spencer. I don't want to say her last name wrong, but I love her. I follow her on everything. But she made a really good post that I wanted to talk about. Change your mindset. Don't think woe's me. Okay, so her first slide is I don't fit in versus they're not my people. I hate my body versus I only get one body and I'm not going to spend my life hating it. I don't want to work out. I get to move my body. I think that post is really important and is really good for people to see because I feel like everybody can do something to change their perspective, which, it doesn't matter if it's, oh, I don't want to go to this class today. I get to go to this class. I get to have an education. And even if you don't believe it at the moment, you don't have to believe it. I 100% don't believe some of this shit I say to myself to hype myself up sometimes. But eventually, you will start believing it. And it will have a very positive impact on your life when you keep saying these, even if you don't believe it. And it eventually, you'll start believing it. I'm not saying gaslight yourself into doing stuff. That's not what I mean. I mean, actually, well, kind of actually. Low-key, yeah. Whatever you need to do to get shit done. I do want to talk about a little bit about self-image in this, which there was a Kylie Jenner interview a couple years ago, and she talked about how when she is feeling self-doubt, when she's feeling like she's not good enough or all this, she has a picture of her as a baby or a little kid, and she has it set on her mirror, taped to her mirror, and whenever she doesn't feel like she's good enough, she looks at that picture and she says, "That's that little girl. You're talking bad about that little girl right there." It hurts. You don't want to talk bad. A lot of people love themselves as a kid. A lot of people cherish that. Why would you want to talk bad about that? Why would you want to talk bad about this precious little baby who is sitting here innocent and probably scared of the world, why would you want to talk bad about them? Why would you put so much pressure on this little baby? And I love that. I've done that myself, and it's very helpful. It doesn't sound like much, just putting a baby picture on your mirror, but if you have that mindset, this is the person that you're talking about. This is who you're talking about. Do you really think you should be talking about this person? Like, this person would be so proud to see you in the spot that you are right now, and you're talking bad about them. So I think that is something really good to focus on, working on your self-image. That might help a lot. It might not help at all. I don't know. You have to try different things in order to see what works for you. All right. We are wrapping it up a bit here. I did have a little bit more that I wanted to talk about. I have this poem. One of the most jarring parts of grief is the way life continues around you. Life completely unaffected, your world has shattered, yet people are still going to work, making weekend plans, laughing over coffee. It's like standing still in the middle of a busy street, watching the world blur past you. And I honestly don't even know how to pronounce that word. Dissonance. Anyways, in that word, there's a deep loneliness, because while others are having the luxury of moving forward, you're left trying to piece together a version of your life that makes sense without the person you lost. So you're trying to make sense of your life without this person who meant so much to you. I mean, obviously they meant a lot to you if it's worth grieving over, you know? You're not gonna grieve over someone who doesn't mean a lot to you. I mean, duh. People who don't mean a lot to you, why would you grieve over them? Why would you even care? Not care that they're dead. Obviously, you're gonna care that they're dead, but like, if they're not dead, I mean. Okay, now that I've tried explaining myself, because that just sounded like, am I the asshole? No, but I just think that's a really great poem. I think it rings really true for a lot of people who have dealt with grieving and people who are dealing with grieving. And I just really like that poem. I think it really goes with what we're talking about today, and I think it's just really good for people to hear. While this poem does talk about the sad part of grieving and not getting over grieving, I still think it's good to discuss, good to talk about. So, as we approach the end of this episode, I would like to say that, reflecting on this poem still, are you going to sit around and let life happen around you? That's one option. Or, hold on, don't really want to burn my hand off. Are you gonna sit around and let life happen around you while you try to make some sense of something that will never make sense? Or are you going to get up when it's hard and figure things out for yourself? Because figuring things out for yourself is really the only way that you're gonna understand, and the only way that's gonna make sense for you. And I get, laying in bed might be all you want to do. You might not want to do much when you're upset and grieving. I 100% understand that. I 100% get that. But, once you are done with that, once you have gotten over that part and you realize I need to do something with my life, I need to do something about this, you need to make a change. You can't sit around wishing away your life. You've got to do something to help yourself. You've got to help yourself in these situations. And going to therapy can help a lot, but I understand not wanting to go to therapy. I understand the stigma behind it. I understand people not wanting to go to therapy. I've gone to therapy. I think it's great. But some people may not. Whatever works for you, not what works for your friends. It's what's going to work for you. And I hope that all of you have an amazing, amazing day, an amazing week. And I can't wait to see you on the next episode of Unsent Letters. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm hoping that we can grow this community, but if we can't, hey, at least we're here. At least we've got each other in this community. And I'm very thankful for each and every one of you watching this video. Bye guys, I hope you have a great day.